In this WCTV special program, Skip Wait shows us how he makes his Russian fan birds.
I make them from the beginning to the end. First thing I do is I get a nice green piece of pine that I got from Williams Sawmill over in Wareham, Mass. They're kind enough to donate it. And I have to take this froe, it's called a froe, this tool, and split this wood so that I can make a fan bird. And you can watch me split one. I've already quartered it. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to split this just like this. That's a good spot. Don't mind the noise. This froe is what the Pilgrims used to use to make shingles. Works very good for that, but I'm using it to make a bird. All right, there's phase one. Nice green piece of wood. Now, phase two. Let me get this to stand up. There you go. Good. Now I'll take my froe, and I'm going to cut it like this. This way first. Like that. Nice. Now we'll do it again. Oh, nice. Look at that. That could be a shingle. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? Nice straight grain. That's what I need, is a nice straight grain. And we'll do it one more time. All right. Those Pilgrims worked pretty hard, you know that? Oh, look at that. There's my first Russian fan bird of the day. Will you wait to see what we do next? All right, let's go in and get this prepared. Okay, so we've got our piece of wood now. Our next thing is we've got to make this fairly smooth. Not flat, but fairly smooth, and clean it up a little bit. So I'm going to get my trusty froe out again here. And we're just going to give this a little split. You'll see what I'm doing here. I'm just going to give this a split like that. Very nice. And we'll do the same thing here. Like this. See how easy that splits? That's just so nice and green. They save all that stuff. I might want to make something else with it. All right, put that away. Put this away. I'm going to take a 1-inch chisel, and I'm just going to you call it planing it if you wanted to, I guess. I'm going to clean it up. I'm going to make it clean. Kind of flat. Good place to start. You could probably do this with a plane. You could do it with a carving knife. I kind of like to use the chisel. But you could do it any way you want. This is the way I've been doing it for years. So far, so good. Nice. This is the top of the wings. Down here will be the bird. So, just so you know where I'm heading. Very, very interesting. It's all about a young man that was sick in Russia in a little building. And he wanted someone to come back. And his dad said he'd make him a bird. He made the first fan bird. He was a basket weaver, according to the legend. And he hung it up in front of the fireplace, and it started to fly. And the little boy got better, and he woke up thinking it was spring, which is kind of cool. After I read the legend, I decided to make these things. Now what this is actually the pattern of the wing. Right here, this circle, if I slice down here, slice down here, slice down here, always stopping right here. I got to stop it right there. That's going to be the design of the wing. This has to go all the way across here like this. That is my stop point. That's what every time I come down here with a knife, it'll stop right there. As I keep going, you'll see why. I'm going to cut here. I'm going to cut here. And I'm going to cut here. Now what I'm doing, I'm going to take this wood out, and part of this wood out, where you got the arrow. See the arrow there? I'm going to take this wood out. As I keep going, you'll see me doing it. This is fairly flat right now. And the only reason I'm saying it's fairly flat is because I want to start taking this wood out now, so there's no reason to flatten it all. Save yourself some energy. So, what we're going to do, we're going to start doing a little bit of carving now, which is probably more fun than that scraping stuff. Now, here goes the beginning. This is the beginning. Before you know it, we'll have a bird. Maybe. Nice and green. Remember, that's the secret. This is called green wood carving, because that's what I'm doing. I'm carving everything green. Now, put that there. Take this out. This is just another gouge of a sort. Just cleaning up my cut a little bit. Okay, now, I did that line there. I'll do exactly the same thing here. Going right across. Keeping that as straight as possible. We'll turn it the other way. All right, we're getting there. Now we're making our design, the beginning of it. Take that out of there. Now what this is going to be called, from this point forward, those two lines are going to be known as the interlock. And that's where this bird is going to interlock at the tips of the wings. As we keep going, you'll see what I'm talking about. I know it sounds strange, but it's true. It is a true story. We're going to make a hummingbird here. And the reason is, I like hummingbirds. If you like hummingbirds, stick with me. If you don't, wait till I do another one, I'll do a blackbird. We go right here. Okay. Perfect. This is the easy part. We're making the V, and in a minute we're making on the other side. And we'll clean it up. Piece of cake. There you go, see how we're cleaning that up? There it goes. Do the same thing over here. Good. Now take it down some more. what this is called the hinge. The hinge is where it's going to attach on the back of the bird. And I want to say that this is going to be the hummingbird. Okay? So you get the idea. Somewhere right there, it's going to be the beak. I may go straighter out with it, I don't know yet, but you know, somewhere there will be the beak. Somewhere in here will be the head. And this is the back. The head can come up like this. This is the back of the bird right here. I am going to take that down to about the thickness of a toothpick. And that's where we're going to fold it. And you'll watch me fan these birds. After I rive it, I'll cut this first, and then I'll bring that down to the thickness of a toothpick. Just so you know where I'm heading, that's where I'm heading. So now we're going to take this, mallet, and let's go down on this side. And this side. Welcome back, everybody. We have cooked the wood. It has been boiled for 4 or 5 hours, soaked in the water overnight. I put it in a couple of plastic bags, kept it cold in the refrigerator, and now we are ready to work on it again today. So we're going to have some fun today. I'm going to teach you what riving is today. If you remember, that's where I split the fibers of the wood. But before I do that, I've got a little more shaping to do. So we'll shape up the wood a little bit more, and then we will rive it. That'll be the next thing that we do. Now, if you look close at the wood, you'll see all these little spots. Not only will you see how wet the wood is, but you're going to see all these pitch spots. The pitch has actually been cooked out of the wood. Some of it. There's still some in there, but this was fairly fresh wood to start with. Sometimes I have to cook it a lot longer than that. Depends on the moisture in the wood. Shaping the feathers. These will be the feathers. It will fly, I'm sure. That's a joke. Okay. Kind of fly. Okay, there you go. Now these designs, every one is different. All you have to remember is that this part is the interlock, and this part down here is going to be the hinge. And that's what's going to make it all work. So as long as we have a hinge and an interlock, we can use all kinds of different shapes and designs. And that's why you can't find two birds that are the same. They don't need to be. They want to be different. They're like me, everything's different. Right here, where you see me taking it off, this is where I'll take this down to about the thickness of a toothpick right there when I'm done. Okay, this is a vise, and I am now, this is a bird that I'm going to do. So I want to start at this end. That'll be my tail. So I'll carve that way, and I'll come this way until I get to about here, and I'll stop. Now watch what I do. Now I'll tell you that this is probably the toughest part about making a bird, is knowing how to do this. If you don't do this right, you can't fold it. And you end up with no bird. The spoke shaver, also known as my riving knife. Now we are gonna, hold on, let me double check this, make sure I'm right. Yep, okay. I'm wrong, I want to start that way. There we go, now I'm right. Okay, now I stand up. And watch what I do here. I'm going to take a little slice right off of this. I'm going to do this. Now watch. Do it again. What I'm doing is I'm going to do that until I get it nice and square. That's nice. There it is. One. Buy one of these little spoke shavers and practice doing this for a while. Believe me, it is the hardest part about making the bird. I fought this. When I first tried doing it, nobody told me I had to cook the wood first. Just shattered every time I tried to do it, and I'd shake my head and say, what the heck? How do these people do this? And I see these birds, and I was flabbergasted. Finally, somebody told me the truth. You got to boil it first. So now we boil. Got it. It's harder to go through the knots than it is the. I'm not supposed to use wood with knots, but sometimes we do. Not on purpose, but it was in there. In a while. Okay, we'll take the vise, get it out of the way, and we'll bring this board back up. Now we're going to start, that's the tail. We'll get rid of that one, it's no good. Get rid of that one. Oh, maybe that's a good one. Okay. All right, now we're going to trim this down a little bit. See that? Here comes the bird. He's in there. Now if you look close, you can see where I've started to draw the bird. This is where it's going to stay attached. I'm going to take this off. That'll make sense in a minute. Ah, did you see that? Gone. Don't need that part. Now you see the bird? These are the wings. Now we'll shape it. Now we'll shape it. Now I can hold on to this. There we go. There we go. One hummingbird coming up. There's a lot of different ways to do this. I could take a saw and cut this with a machine saw if I wanted to, but that's not how I do them. I like to do them all by hand. See, I can hold that now by what will be the beak. so I can round off the sides. See that? Just making it nice and smooth. Nice. Same thing on this side. You gotta always go with the grain. This side goes easier than the other side did. You could sand and sand and sand this. I can get it down nice and smooth. Leave it a little rough. You can do whatever you want to do with it. You know, it's your little project. But here we go now. I'm going to finish working on this little. Now, if I should break this, I'd make it a different bird. So, the hinge. I want to put it back in the bag for a couple of minutes. Let that water get into this hinge that I'm making right here. Let the water get in there really good. Then after the water gets in there really good, we're going to turn around and fold this thing, and I'm going to show you what it looks like when I'm done. Let's take a little break and let this soak in some water. Okay, so what I want to do now, while this bird is soaking, I want to explain to you the different ways you can make the birds. This is just a little bird, a little body, but if you look really close, you'll see his tail. That tail is grass, and I wove the grass in between the tail after I folded it when it was still green, then let it dry. That's totally different. I love that little bird. Now you can get so creative and have so much fun. I'm going to show you another one that I don't think anybody in the world except me does. Now that's a cool looking bird, right? But it doesn't even start to get cool until you look at the tail. Look real close at that tail. Now look at this. These long ones and these green ones are all attached. There's one piece of wood. I did that when it was green and wet. During the folding process, I carved this different at this end. Those are the first first five that came out. The next 6 that came out, I left them long like that. Now, I told you earlier that I really like little hummingbirds. So here's a couple of little hummingbirds. But look, this is still one piece of wood. On this side, I actually drilled a hole through the wood. Then I rived it, and then I folded it. This one, I drilled a hole in a little ways, and I folded these long ones and brought them into the holes for that tail. Check that tail out. That's an interwoven tail, which I don't think anybody else does those. I've never seen them done anywhere else. That's interwoven. This is still one piece of wood, and they're lovebirds. I think that's pretty wild. All right, it's soaked. It's ready to go, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to fold it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to start with the tail. Fold, fold, interlock. There's your interlock. Do one more interlock, like this. Interlock, see the interlock? Now that's going to be the tail of the bird. Now I'm going to take this one, I'm going to pull it forward, push it over, watch me now, take this one here, push it forward, push it over, see that? Now, take this one, do the same thing. Interlock it. This one here, I'm gonna interlock it. But you can feel the fibers breaking as I'm doing that. It's like a tree, you know, when you go to cut a tree down, it's still held on by that little tiny bit and you cannot get it off. I'll tell you what, I could take a giant man and ask him to pull that as hard as he possibly could, and he cannot pull it out. It's only a few strands. That's all you needed are a few strands. This is still soaking wet. All right, now look, I'm folding now, interlocking. I'm going to, every other side, that's all I'm doing. Interlock. Okay, now here we go again. Pull, interlock. Pull, interlock. Now I'm looking at this and I'm saying, you know what? I kind of like that bird like that, but I want a full tail. So instead of continuing to do the front feathers, I'm going to start making a big fat tail. Because I want to. I can do anything I want to do. Once you've done this though, remember you cannot undo it and do it again. Unless you do it right now. I mean, you can do it right now, but can you see how thin it is? Okay, here we go. Now some of these are not quite as thin as the other ones because you can't be perfect. You do the best you can, that's all. 5 left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Perfect. So this one here goes over here to make 10 over there. So it's exactly the same. I'm going to let that dry. After that dries, I'll cut that off with a pair of fingernail clippers. Let it dry first. There's your bird. Is that cool? Now you can paint them, hang them, set them somewhere, wherever you want to do. Put them up this way and let them sit and dry like that if you want them. Dry it for 3 or 4 days. Then you can paint it, shellac it, leave it natural, whatever you want. And that's how you make a Russian fan bird. Thank you.